What is going on, everybody? My name is Greg Helbeck, and welcome to this week's weekly REI lesson. I was going to say deal breakdown, but that's a different video. So on this week's weekly REI, which stands for Real Estate Investing lesson, I'm going to talk about direct mail and what lists that I like to pull and why you should pull these types of lists. And it might be a little counterintuitive to what you have already heard from popular gurus. So I'm going to get into that on today's video. If you are new to this series of content I'm putting out, if you're watching on YouTube, if you can like this video and then subscribe. If you're watching this on Instagram or Facebook, if you can like this and share this, it would help me a ton. I'm trying to get this message out into as many people as possible. So if you can share and like and subscribe, it would really mean a lot to me so I can deliver more content on a consistent basis. So today we're going to talk about direct mail. And if you're not familiar with direct mail, it is the simple art and science of sending out either postcards or letters to prospects with an offer. And in our business, in the real estate business, our offer is we want to buy your house. So if you're a landlord, I'm sure you've gotten postcards before. I know I'm a landlord. I certainly get them from other investors. And essentially, you're sending stuff out in the mail. You're sending letters and postcards out. Prospects are going to basically see that. And then if they're interested or slightly interested, they're going to respond. And they're going to call in, or they're going to go to your website, or they're going to email you. You want to give them several ways to reach out to you. So a lot of people talk about direct mail. I want to do direct mail. I think a lot of successful investors are doing direct mail. And I can tell you right now, I have made a freaking flip, or actually, pun intended, flipping fortune from direct mail. It's not easy. It's not cheap. It takes some practice. And it usually is going to take some expensive lessons. But once you optimize direct mail and you know your numbers, man, it is a great channel. So the key to direct mail, in my opinion, is sending to the right list. So you can send the right message through the right media. And this is all from Dan Kennedy, who's a direct response marketing expert. You could send the right message in the right media, and message would be like, hey, I want to buy your house. And media could be a postcard with, your logo on it. But if you screw up the list, man, you are in trouble. You can't say the right thing to a wrong person, or you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. So when it comes to direct mail lists, I personally look for one thing: length of ownership. I'm going to say that one more time. Length of ownership. In my experience from buying hundreds and hundreds of houses, if you mail to people who have recently purchased property, unless you're mailing for buyers, you're going to be SOL, because people most likely are not going to have A, deferred maintenance, and B, a reason to be selling right away. So when I pull direct mail lists, what I like to do is I like to go onto a tool like PropStream. If you're interested in checking that software out, go to greglikesdata.com. Once again, that is greglikesdata.com. Shameless plug for my affiliate link. No, nothing to hide there. But anyway, I like to pull lists where the owner has owned the property for at least 20 years. And usually when you pull a list like that, you're going to get a lot of people. So what I'll do is I'll just filter it to absentee owned, which means that the homeowner does not live at the property. So it's either a rental, or it's vacant, or maybe it's inherited. But the property is different than the owner's mailing address. So I like to look on greglikesdata.com at properties that have been owned for 20 years. So if this is, where I'm filming this video in 2022, so I would go 2002 or earlier. So the property has been purchased 2002 or before. So why do I do that? Why do I like properties that have been owned for 20 years? Number one, they most likely have a lot of equity. If they got financing on that property and they didn't refinance or get a line of credit, most likely that property is either free and clear or close to free and clear, which means that you can actually buy the house. Because sometimes we get leads in our company where the seller just owes too much and we can't make them an offer because they're upside down, or whatever the case might be. So usually there's going to be a ton of equity. The second thing I like about that list is that there's usually deferred maintenance. If they've owned the property for 20 years and they haven't had the money, or they didn't have the desire to fix it up, usually the property is going to have deferred maintenance. If it's a rental property, there's usually always deferred maintenance. If they're living in the property and they've lived there forever and they haven't done anything since 2002 or earlier, odds are it's going to need a good amount of updating. It's going to need a rehab, or it's going to need a gut job. So that's why I like that list. And at the end of the day, when it comes to direct mail, that list is great. Another list that I've made money on is the tax delinquent list. And that list is definitely hit or miss depending on your area. That is just a list of all people who are behind on their property taxes. I'm going to tell you the good and bad about that right now. The good thing about that list is you can run into absolute home runs. I mean, there are absolute home run deals on the tax delinquent list. Obviously, results may vary, but we have made a ton of money from that list. On the downside on that list, you're going to be mailing to people who sometimes are not going to be a fit. So what I mean by that, when I flip homes or when I have rental properties before I refinance, I'm on the tax delinquent list. So that just means that I have not paid my property taxes. And usually the way you can get like ninja with it is if you target people who haven't paid their taxes in like 2 years, which means like they're basically going into the gutter. If you mail the people who have been on the tax delinquent list for 5 months, the odds are they're not going to sell you the house at a discount. So you got to be careful with who you're mailing to, because you can waste a lot of money if you don't target that list. But the tax delinquent list could be a great option. A lot of people, if they're on the tax delinquent list, they don't have a mortgage, because usually the bank will pay the taxes because they don't want to lose the house to tax foreclosure and lose their collateral. Another list that I like too that works pretty well is the it's not the inherited list, but it's the it's inter-family transfer deed list. That just means that the property there was a deed transfer within the family, aka the intra-family transfer, and those could be inherited properties. So you run into sellers who they inherited the property and they've been living there, or they got a squatter in there, or it's vacant, and they just want to unload it. And that could be a good list. So there's all types of lists. At the end of the day, though, when it comes to direct mail, you got to make sure that you're mailing to the right list. Hopefully the list that I gave you, the absentee list, could be phenomenal with the length of ownership. The key there is the length of ownership. That is like the most important thing. And you can hopefully get some good deals that way. Tax delinquent list can certainly work. And the interfamily deed list is another good list that you can use. So hopefully this video is helpful. I try to keep these under 10 minutes. We're about 6.5 minutes now. So if you're interested in pulling lists, I highly recommend you check out PropStream. And if you do decide to use that software, I recommend you go through my affiliate link, just because who doesn't like making money? Got nothing to hide there. GregLikesData.com. Another vendor that I've used before that has performed pretty well for me is ListSource. So you go to listsource.com. I don't have an affiliate link for them, but you can use them if you want. That software you can pull, or it's a website. It's not really a software, but that is basically just a list provider. You can customize lists on there. You can go absentee lists and all this kind of stuff, foreclosure lists. Hopefully ListSource can be a good option. There's another tool coming out in a month called Invelo. My buddy Justin Severio invented that, so I'm excited to test that out. And then there's a bunch of other ones. You got Batch Leads out there. They're great. You got Rebo Gateway. You got Property Radar. There's all types of vendors out there. I mean, there's certainly not a shortage of list providers in today's day and age with real estate investing. So you got to make sure you're out there. You're marketing to the right people. And I'll tell you one more key with direct mail. I'm looking at my content schedule, and I'm going to be doing more videos on direct mail. So I don't want to go too into the weeds on this video because it was mostly about lists. However, when you're doing direct mail, especially in 2022, the market has certainly changed from when I got started. I mean, you could send 2,000 letters back when I got started and you would have gotten a deal or two. And now there's a snowball. You got a better chance of a snowball not burning in hell than doing that because it's just competitive out there now. So if you're mailing, you got to make sure that you're mailing enough volume to get the results. If you're mailing 2,000 people, I don't care how stacked your list is, you're not going to get shit most likely, unless you're in some unicorn market where other investors aren't marketing to. But if that's the case, then you're probably in an area where no one wants to buy real estate in. So you got to make sure you're sending enough volume out. Every market is going to be specific. My area, New York and San Diego, it's fucking crazy. But the profits are crazy, so it's worth it. We also do mailings in Pennsylvania where the response rate's a little bit better, but the deal size isn't as great, right? So you got to make sure you're mailing to the right list. The list that I shared in this video should definitely be helpful. And hope you got some value from this video. If you did, please like this video, share the video if you're watching on Instagram or Facebook. And if you're watching on YouTube, my goal is to get my channel to 1,000 subscribers in the next 3 months. So if you would be open to it, if you can subscribe to my channel and like the video, it's how we get more people to see this. And I'll see everyone on the next REI lesson.